This is the Uncuffed playlist, and you're back in the mix with DJ Focus. You just heard Pimmy's Dilemma by Pimmy, Drake, and Party Next Door. Before that, we played Low Shimmy's big hit, For Me. Prior to that, we listened to Act 1, Stickers 99 by Four Bats. On top of that, we vibed out to Rema's hit record, Baby. And the song we kicked it off with, Same Way by Kevin Gates. Man, I really love this set, and listening to it, especially after listening to Pimmy's Dilemma, the one person that keeps coming to mind is my A1 since day one. Vicky, if you're listening to this, you know what it is. And for all of you listening who don't know, well, let me tell you, as hard-headed as I could be, no matter what, Vicky always told me like it was. When I say this woman is something amazing, words alone can't explain why I feel the way I do about this woman for real. You know, as people we come across in life, they always gonna hold a special place in our heart. Vicky will forever be one of those people. You know, I swear it's crazy because Vicky was the only girl I ever took to meet my granny, and they instantly hit it off. You know, right off the bat, she was Granny's baby. Later on, you know, I talked to my granny. She let me know, like, hey, that girl's a real keeper, which I knew, but it feels a little better, you know, when you get that stamp of approval, you know what I mean? One day, we're hanging out, just the two of us, and I get a call. It's my partner, and he's with my other partner, and they want to kick it because, you know, that night they had something lined up and they needed a ride. Being 16 at the time, obviously I tell them it's good, and Vicky is not happy. So, you know, she lets me have it. I'm talking about she's telling me how she doesn't like my friends, how she doesn't want me hanging out with them, how she doesn't want to hang out with them, because even though they're calling me for a ride, you know, she's the one driving. You know, she's telling me how I'm always getting into situations when I'm with them and just how I need to do better. But I didn't want to hear all that. So we end up picking them up. Remember, it's still early in the day, so we have some time to kill before it gets dark. And instead of driving around Marin, you know, 4 deep with no tents, you know, make things simple and easy, we just went to the closest spot on the map where we could park the car, you know, get out, stretch your legs, enjoy the view, and kick back with no problems. So we're chilling in the car, you know, and me and Vicky are up front, and my two friends, you know, they're in the back. So I end up turning around and, you know, I asked them about the details for later, like, you know, what's going on. So they break it down to me, you know, and everything seems good. So I'm like, bet. But before I can turn back around, you know, one of my friends is like, yeah, and I got this. And he shows me a revolver, you know, about the size of his hand, pops the cylinder out and, you know, shows me that it's loaded before popping it back in like he's John Wayne. You know, now they're in the back seat passing it around. All I hear is click. I instantly spin around, and the look I see on both of their faces confirmed what I already knew. One of them accidentally pulled the trigger, and by the grace of God, the gun misfired because it was pointed directly at Vicky's back. You know, until that moment, I didn't know what it really meant when people said things like, you know, it felt like time stopped or everything froze. But like the shock, the anger, the relief and guilt that I all felt in rapid succession, you know, it had literally frozen time for me. So when I finally blinked and time went back to normal, it was just this feeling of just disbelief. Needless to say, later that night, instead of going out, you know, I was doing my best to make things up to Vicky. But there's some wrongs that can't be undone. Sometimes the only thing we can do is learn from our past mistakes so we don't repeat them in the future. You know, me and Vicky, we had been through a lot. And through it all, one of the biggest lessons she imparted on me, you know, was accountability. You know, being able to own up to my actions and live with the choices that I made, that still helps me to this day. Because no matter how bad someone might want something for you, it has to start with you first. And I'm just grateful and I'm thankful, you know, for all the experiences that we shared and all the memories that we created together. You know, life can pass you by in the blink of an eye. But I definitely learned a lot from Vicky. And I just want to take this moment to say thank you. But listen up, y'all. Look, we still got plenty of music on the way. Right now, we're gonna pick it up with Hot Boy's First Day Out, 9/11, right here on the Uncut playlist.